Hola, Kinalito, aka Mahali Selepe, the girl that calls for countries home. Welcome to my channel, you guys. So I'm doing a reaction video to the Red Table Talk upload this morning. So I thought I'll just watch it in real time, so my reaction is real. I have watched about 5 minutes of it and I thought, oh, let me actually do a reaction. So I hope you enjoy this. Shout out to the Stamps. I watch their reaction videos all the time and this is how they do it. So please enjoy. You know what to do to become part of the family. Mwah. I love you guys.
Polyamory, engaging in multiple intimate relationships at the same time, with nearly half of marriages ending in divorce.
The main reasons why divorces happen is infidelity.
Less couples are saying I do, and more young people are experimenting with a new kind of love.
How did you feel when I told you that I was polyamorous?
It feels like it's really all just centered around sex. Don't get frustrated, Willow.
Redefining relationships.
All right, we brought your boyfriend with you.
Remodeling romance.
How many other relationships are you involved in right now?
Rewriting the rules.
You consider yourself a poly newbie.
Is traditional marriage a thing of the past?
The history of marriage really irks me.
Stay tuned.
I have to interrupt because I am struggling here. I am struggling.
Willow.
Back at the table.
Willow and her polyamory explorations. I love it.
God.
Do you believe in monogamy? Being with one person romantically and sexually till death do us part, honey. For many younger people, like Willow, the answer is no. Instead, they are choosing polyamory, which means having multiple emotional and romantic partners at the same time. This has been a journey for you, Miss Willow. How did you make this decision?
With polyamory, I feel like the main foundation is the freedom to be able to create a relationship style that works for you and not just stepping into monogamy because that's what everyone around you says is the right thing to do.
Right.
So I was like, how can I structure the way that I approach relationships with that in mind?
Yeah.
Also, doing research into polyamory, the main reasons why monogamous relationships or why marriage, why divorces happen is infidelity.
Yeah. For somebody like me, it feels like it's really all just centered around
I mean, I'll give
sex.
you an example. Let's say you haven't always been the kind of person that wanted to have sex all the time, but your partner is.
Right.
Are you going to be the person to say, you know, just because I don't have these needs, you can't have them either?
Right, right.
And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I actually was interested in poly, because I was introduced to it through kind of a non-sexual lens.
Right.
Okay.
In my friend group, I'm the only polyamorous person, and I have the least sex out of all of my friends. So how did you feel when I told you that I was polyamorous?
When you were like, hey, this is my get down, I was like, I totally get it. Wanting to set up your life in a way that you can have what it is that you want. I think anything goes as long as the intentions are clear. You know what I mean?
To everyone involved, and to yourself.
Really more to yourself than anything, right? And I know that there's a lot of beauty that sits outside of the conventional boxes.
Let's not negate just the simple, because there are people that still enjoy marriage as it is today.
100%.
Yes.
I happen to enjoy being married, even though I've been married several times and I've been through.
We don't want
nothing wrong with
this
that.
isn't about changing a paradigm that works for people.
Exactly.
This isn't about that.
It's about being able to have the freedom to create a relationship for
then
yourself.
I'm good then.
It's almost like you're born, you go to school, you go to college, you get
married,
you have kids, you have
kids.
to pick a fence. But a lot of people have done that and felt unfulfilled in their lives.
Right.
But I also think you have to be careful in these particular dynamics because they can be a little distracting. Meaning,
You have to be careful in monogamy too. That
you
can
do.
be distracting as well.
No, but here's the difference between monogamous relationships.
Yes.
When you have those monogamous boundaries, you're actually forced to have to just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Just take a minute, just listen to what I'm saying. When you have those boundaries that are put in and you aren't giving yourselves the opportunity to go call Jane or to go
Right.
call Robert when things aren't going well within your
Right.
in your relationship, right? It makes you have to confront and look at things in a different manner,
100%.
right? So all I'm saying is that in these kinds of dynamics, in just being careful that we're not trying to dodge the raindrops.
There's comfort in that it provides, too, almost like a social order
Yes.
to life in setting boundaries
Yeah.
and commitments.
Most people are practicing monogamy because they feel like they have no other choice.
Right.
We all know that most people out here doing unethical non-monogamy
Right,
any damn way.
unethical.
That's the reason.
That's the whole, you know what I
That's
mean?
called cheating, y'all.
Yeah, that's.
Most people's out here just acting a fool.
But that's also why it's important to be able to have the discussion beforehand, which is where I think people fall short, especially today. Because let me tell you something. Having been married 4 times, Rodney and I had some serious conversations.
You have
Yeah.
to.
About what does this mean to you,
Yeah.
even outside of the counseling that you get from your pastor before you
Right.
get married. Because most people that get married, will get counseling from their pastors because there is a religious aspect to it, a God aspect to it, Jada.
Yeah, for sure.
And we had deep conversation about what does this mean to us.
Yeah.
What do we want to create for ourselves? And we actually talked about polyamory. It was that something that we wanted to explore. We had that conversation.
But see, the difference is that you and Rodney have lived so much life.
Right,
Right? So when
right.
you're talking to a 20-year-old
Yeah.
who is thinking about being married. So let's see, I got married at 25.
Wow.
25, 24, one of those. Jesus. And the problem is if you go into a relationship thinking that this is going to be exactly how it is today, till the day
That you die?
that I die,
Yep.
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble and you're
And what-
sadly mistaken.
You're sadly mistaken. Now, regardless what the dynamic of the love is going to be, so whether it's
100%.
5 people involved,
100%.
whether it's just 2 people involved, and whatever it is,
It's gonna change.
It's going to change.
And that's
the
where the
one thing.
conversation comes in.
Exactly.
It's the practicing monogamy has to be a choice that you make,
Yes.
just like practicing polyamory.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So that's the
100%.
thing. That's the only part about marriage today and monogamy that I think is antiquated. That monogamy has to be your
Default.
choice.
Yeah.
It
Right.
can't be because I'm told I'm supposed to do it this way.
Right.
That, my dear,
Exactly.
is deeply antiquated
Yes.
and no longer works.
I guess I'm not really clear on what it
does.
offers you.
Could you imagine being in a group and loving everyone equally?
No.
Whether it be platonic or not? Wow. Well, then I don't know what to say.
That's because
Yeah.
of Gam's ideas around love.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I want to talk to you about. This has really been something that has been a personal journey for you. What are your feelings and ideas around marriage as you know it today?
Okay. Whew. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's not an easy one at all. Yo, it's very interesting. Gemi is not having it. Gemi is not having it. Gemi is like, I'm looking at the facial expressions. She's not having it. Yo, it's a really tough one. I shared this on my Facebook. And this was before I thought of coming to react to it. I thought I'll just come to react to it because I'm thinking, is this the answer? Could this be the answer? Or people should just, because God allowed polygamous relationships. So, yeah, the thing of having lots of relationships, I think, yeah, that one, as Christians, And I can tell, like I can see, Jada, I love Jada's sexual liberation, I remember her talking about on one of the topics last year or something anyway, or first season, she was just talking about how, she pleasures herself sexually. She feels like that every woman need to know how to do that. And that stuck with me because, her point was then you don't feel you need a man. You don't find yourself in so many multiple relationships because your body needs what your body needs, because you're having those sexual desires. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I need to learn how to pleasure myself. She was saying that's what she did, before marriage, as a young girl. So therefore, she never thought she needed a man, And I think it's a lot of young girls or boys. I don't know. I know that young people who are exposed to this kind of thing and those sorts of pressures, peer pressures from friends and stuff. It can be really hard, a life without sex, because you as the body changes and what is it called? Hormones, hormones and everything, and you start wanting certain things that you shouldn't be having. But if you know what to do about it, if you know where to touch, what to do with yourself so that those things go, then I think it would be really helpful, But of course, the ideal from a Christian perspective is to know how to channel your mind, to know what to do, not, with your hands, but to know what to do to, distract and train your brain to not go there. So it's interesting that now, she's raised this girl who knows her right, who knows what she wants in life, and has chosen, the polyamorous life. And it's really interesting because she's against that, but she has raised her kids to know what they want, to make their own choices. And I think it's so, it touches on parenting in such an interesting way for me. Because we want our children to love themselves, to know what they want in life, to do this and this, and it's such a challenge when they choose these things that we didn't foresee them choosing, but as a parent also, you still want them to know what they want in life and stand for themselves, stand for what they want and know what they want, you know what I mean? So this is really interesting, really interesting. Okay, let's see what Jada says.
The history of marriage really irks me.
Yeah.
Just the history of marriage as a whole and what it has represented over the years for women in particular. I feel like the only way that I would get married is, let's say me and my partner or partners want to help people and we need to put our finances together in order to make that vision happen. Right. That's the only way I could see myself getting married.
So there has to be a common purpose.
Yeah, there has to be a purpose beyond, I think you're cute.
And that goes for any relationship. So whether it's polyamorous,
100%.
Whether it's a relationship just with yourself.
100, yes.
It needs to be connected to something greater than you. Because I think the reason why so many relationships are not working is because it's steeped in self-gratification.
100%.
And that is going to get you in trouble every single time.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to be married, I think one of the things that has to change is the idea that I need a husband, we're going to have... No.
Yeah.
What are you planning to build together? What are you planning to do together?
Like,
what is the purpose of your togetherness? Because it has to be bigger than the two of you. When I look at Justin and Haley,
They're a beautiful couple.
They're a beautiful couple, but not to say that they won't have their difficulties, because they will. But here's the thing that I love about how they've started their relationship. they agree on God.
Yes.
They want to serve God and they want to love God together. And so that is always their North Star.
Yeah.
So, coming to the table is a polyamorous young woman who's in a relationship with a married man. Meet Gabrielle Smith. She practices solo polyamory, meaning she has multiple partners and doesn't consider any of them more important than the others. Aaron is her platonic life partner. Doug is her sexual partner. Alex is her boyfriend. Alex has a wife. Alex's wife has a boyfriend, Jeff, and they're all down with that. Gabrielle has been very open about her relationships and has become a leading voice in the ethical non-monogamy community.
It seems extremely confusing to me. I don't understand it. Gab, I need to hear everything you got to say.
I just want to say I'm so happy that you're here because I see a lot of, white people talking about this specific content. And when I came across your page, I was like, oh my gosh, a young Black woman speaking her truth about this.
That was my whole big thing. The face of polyamory is mostly white people, and that's not my reality, and I knew other people felt the same way.
Yeah.
And the more you see that this is something that exists and this is something that's possible for you, the more people feel like empowered.
How did you come to understanding you wanted a polyamorous relationship?
And the first time I had heard about it, I was reading fan fiction. The main character was in a love triangle. The two guys were supposed to duke it out to figure out who would be her love at the end. So
Very barbaric.
Yeah, very barbaric. It was like a vampire thing. At the end, they kind of got an equal score, so she just picked both of them.
Right.
And I was like, wait, this is so much better.
Exactly.
Like, this is possible. And then I was in my first relationship when I was like 17 to 19. And a year and a half in, noticed I was like looking at other people, and that kind of opened the idea of like, okay, maybe we can do a polyamorous relationship. And then I met Alex, and that kind of solidified things for me.
All right, well, she brought your boyfriend with you, and he is married and also has other romantic partners besides you. I want to just start getting a little bit of background from you for a second, because we're deeply intrigued, right?
Intrigued and confused.
Oh my goodness.
Gammy's confused.
I'm confused.
Let's pull the curtain back.
Back a little bit. So you're married to Bridget. So how did this lifestyle come up for the both of you?
We've been together almost 10 years.
Got it.
And we've been open for about half of that time.
Okay.
We're about 5 years into our relationship, and, there's lots of challenging scenarios that happen in monogamy.
Yeah.
Commitment is a learning experience.
It sure is,
right?
Alex, yes.
Since the beginning, we're always really candid with our relationships when it came to being attracted to other people. When we would socialize at parties, we'd be a little flirty.
Right.
And we kind of dug that about each other.
Yeah.
So one thing led to another, and her and I decided to try to open things up. And I don't think we did it to try to fix our relationship. I've always had this strong feeling of commitment. Like, I really cherish commitment a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little complicated at first to wrap my head around it. But I was in, because I thought that it would be like a journey together.
Yeah.
Totally.
So how did the two of you meet?
We met on Tinder. It wasn't anything crazy. We went on our first date. He was coming from dinner with his wife and a friend of theirs, and we got a drink.
Did everybody come, or just
No,
you
it was
and
just
No, it
Alex?
was just us, yeah. It was just us.
Too soon.
Too soon,
Okay.
yeah. We waited a month for that.
We clicked.
We clicked.
Do you and his wife have a relationship?
We
like
have a really good relationship.
Platonic relationship?
Yeah,
or-
we
I think
don't.
that's-
yeah,
yeah,
we don't date.
You have to. You have
Because
to
For
in order
me,
to make it work.
it's pretty much a requirement. If I'm like dating someone with a partner, we practice what is called kitchen table polyamory, where like I at the very minimum need to meet someone's partner because I need to kind of know what energy you have going on at home. I need to make sure things are okay. I think we're all very lucky because we get along so well.
Alex's wife, Bridget, shared why your relationship works for her.
Alex is one of the most loyal people I've ever met. Like, more than I could ever even hope to be. Alex is so loyal. Like, if we do skip a date night, or if he sees somebody like 3 nights a week and we haven't had dinner together yet, like, I know this sounds maybe crazy to some people, but it really doesn't bother me. Because I just know at the end of the day that Alex isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I love that she has her own boyfriend. Because I feel like there's this trend where it's like the men can have all the partners.
Oh, yeah.
Yo. Whew. Before we continue. Oh my days. Okay, that was a lot. Yo. It's very interesting though. So there are people who actually live like this, and this is like a thing. I mean, I've heard of it. I know of open relationships. I guess this is what it is. Is this what it is? Yo, guys. I'm just looking at the wife there being okay with this, and yeah, ne? The world is ending. So yeah, let's just do that disclaimer, because I'm not sure if I did it. I'm reacting to this. I'm not selling it. I'm not saying this is the way to go. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I am reacting to it. Yeah, I'm reacting to how people choose to live their lives. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting and a bit sad, because it's taking me to a point where I remember thinking this kind of thing could be a solution for my own situation. Hey, they're brave, these people. I'm too jealous. Like even the thing of polygamy or open relationship, I am way too jealous. But I must say, there's a time when I have felt I wish I had that kind of a thing where I am free. And it's okay. You know, where I thought, oh man, being Christian is really challenging, because I felt I wish I was free to just also go out and see other people and vice versa, and I wouldn't be looking over my shoulder, being paranoid, thinking, what's happening now, who are they talking to, you just want to chill and relax and know that it's okay. Like, it's okay, you can do that, they can do that, it's okay. I think it's a peaceful place to be in. Whether it's right or wrong, that's another matter now. If it's you know what I mean. So it's so interesting to see people that have chosen this kind of lifestyle and it works for them.
And then it's like, once the woman wants to have a partner, it's like, oh wait, now we're going a little too far here.
But it's also specifically, you can't date other men.
Yeah. It's like, I'm cool with women.
I'm cool with women because a woman can't steal my girl from me, exactly.
Okay, so I have to interrupt because I am struggling here.
It's okay.
I'm struggling here.
I have
and
a
really
question in any manner. I am ready.
I just don't understand it. It still sounds to me like the major motivation is sexual.
It's not about, I want to have all these partners, I want to do all of these things. It's just like my sexuality. I'm not specifically attracted to men, and I'm not specifically attracted to women or any other gender. It's that I'm open to anything. I want to be able to take opportunities if I feel like they're natural to me.
You also have a platonic girlfriend relationship, life partner.
We're just friends. But it was deeper than like a normal friendship. It was very intimate.
Right.
And I think that's what makes the difference. And that's why I consider her like a life partner. I jokingly call her my wife. We did try to like have sex once and it didn't work. Yeah. Like we weren't into it. Yeah. Never, like literally mutually decided, we're good. She is so special to me, and like our relationship has like a lot of depth. Romantic and platonic relationships can be equal to me.
Alex, why did you decide to get married in the first place?
Because I deeply loved Bridget, and to show our commitment to tell each other, like, this is our journey together. But there was a familial element too. Like, we wanted our whole family to be there together to like celebrate our love. And the wedding was amazing. It was beautiful.
What kind of rules or boundaries did you and Bridget create for yourselves?
As we progressed, it was less about boundaries and more about being completely honest and communicative with each other about our intentions, about our expectations of one another. That actually strengthened our relationship, because polyamory forces you to make or break. Either you figure it out or you don't.
There are times when we're the only people that can host, in which case...
I get sexiled.
No.
Or she does.
Yeah.
Sexiling is when you look at the calendar, like, oh, tomorrow so-and-so is coming over and Bridget is hosting. That means that I need to find something to do. I'll either work late or go see a movie or hang out with a friend or go to the bar.
Okay.
To be quite frank, we didn't have too many boundaries at first. We were just interested in exploring and meeting new people and having new experiences, sexual experiences as well. I know what you're thinking. So, and the other thing is, yes, there's a sexual element.
Yeah.
I do enjoy novel sex, and I don't think there's anything shameful about that.
Right.
If you're being honest with your other partners about it.
Right.
Gabby also enjoys novel sex, so does my wife. And that's a part of who we are, and we're not ashamed of it.
Well, I think that's great.
And a lot of...
meaning, at least you can be honest about it, both of you. Because I think there's a lot of non-consensual non-monogamy going on because
100%.
people will not just be honest.
If the numbers add up with all these statistics everyone's throwing around about marriage and how it fails and how it doesn't, then we're all thinking about it.
Yeah.
We just have to talk about it more.
That's
Exactly.
my thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, if you're already thinking about it in your monogamous relationship, it's gonna be the same in
But
your
that's the
polyamorous
thing.
relationship. You just have to
People
be
are saying
more
you shouldn't be
transparent.
thinking about
but
it.
everybody is.
Right, but people are like, I
people are-
shouldn't, and I.
But I wanna also put in,
maybe
though.
one day I'm gonna wake up and a miracle's gonna happen, and I'm just gonna be monogamous, guys.
You know, you all are putting too much on the negative side of monogamy,
It
as if
works
now
for a
monogamy
lot of
is
people.
not right.
No,
so we don't want to put that out either.
No, we already established
so I think
that.
what we're
Don't
talking
get frustrated, Willow. Don't get frustrated. Because I just want to be clear that some people
Let's
still like monogamy.
Yes.
Monogamy itself is fine, but when you form a polyamorous relationship, instead of rules, let's think about boundaries and then agreements.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
maybe that's a
rules
better...
are very much like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
A boundary is, this is something that I would not like. I think the only real agreement we have is fluid bonding, which is like condom usage with other people.
Which
And
makes a lot of sense because health is
It's
a
a
big
health
factor.
thing.
Right.
Health.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's a
right
health
here.
So when Alex did have another partner, I asked, I don't want to hear unsolicited sexual details about what's going on.
Right.
Because that was like for my comfort.
It's really interesting because I keep hearing you referring back to Alex for everything. It seems more like he is more your partner than you think.
Because he's like an anchor for me, essentially. Like, I have dated other people, and I would, maybe not right now, but then later I would like to have another partner. Nobody really like fully measures up to the level of commitment I get from Alex.
What do holidays look like for you guys?
We celebrated Christmas together. And,
Yeah, we did.
And New Year's.
For the first time, or?
Yeah, we
Oh,
celebrated.
that's beautiful.
It was me, you, and Bridget. Did Jeff come?
He did come for New Year's.
Yeah, so
Jeff is Bridget's boyfriend.
Jeff is Bridget's
We
boyfriend.
all hung out for New Year's.
So
which
we
was
all
great.
hung out for
that's
New
beautiful.
Year's, and
That was awesome.
my roommate came with us. So holidays, I think we would like them to be like that.
Alex, when your girlfriend and your wife don't get along, tell me what that looks like.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yo. Eee. Sorry, I forgot what their name. I just remember Alex's name. I don't remember what her name is. She's in trouble. She's in trouble. I feel like she's falling for Alex. See, this is the thing. I remember watching McGee's interview. I can't remember who with. But this woman was talking about having, like, it was all about, like, you know, the freedom for women to have multiple partners, as well as, you know, the way men do, and it not being frowned upon. I think for me, that's the one thing that I would say, you know, I feel like, yeah, the world is twisted. The world is, you know, if a man runs around and do things, it's okay. You know, he's not a you know, excuse my French, he's not a slut, he's not a hoe, he's not a, you know what I mean? But if a woman does that, she is. And I feel like that is unfair, you know. A man is exploring, but a woman is you know, or whatever, in common, you know, much more polite language, a woman is misbehaved, a woman is, you know, it's disgusting or it's whatever. But if a man does it, it's okay. You know, the man is not seen that way. There's no growing up as well. You know, if you're a boy like that, or you know, there's no stigma. There's no stigma. But if you're a woman who is like that, who grows up, I'm thinking of girls that were like that growing up. You know, the stigma, I mean, even today, I'm learning now to remove that from me, to, you know, because it's a judgment. You're already brought up to judge the woman. If the girl explores herself, if she initiates with the men, with the boys, you know, it's, you know, but if a boy does it, it's acceptable. It's a problem. If it's not acceptable, let it not be acceptable. Despite who does it, it's just not acceptable, period. Woo! So I like Gemi's point there, because I can see Willow is being really frustrated with the idea of monogamy. I wonder why. She really is. And I love Gemi's point that, you know, you guys, you just say negative things about monogamous relationship. It's as though it's a bad thing, you know. I mean, God knew what He was doing, creating one Adam and one Eve. We are lacking as people. We are lacking the ability to commit. You know, I feel that's what the problem is here. We can't commit to one person and just be there no matter what. I think we have become a generation. Maybe it's not a new thing. Maybe let me not say we have become. But my point is, we maybe unrealistic to a degree, or we don't want to deal with uncomfortable situations. We don't want to deal with things not being okay. We don't want to. So we'd rather have other people who we can still have butterflies with, who you know, with whom we can still experience the boyfriend phase, the honeymoon phase, once we lose it in our own long-term committed relationships. You know, we are losing the ability to just face the music, because we want other people we can emotionally outpour to, you know. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I like how Jada as well, with Jada and Willow arguing, because Jada is really for, look, we are not divorcing, you know, her and Will, we are not divorcing. Even if you live on the other corner of this house, we are staying together, we are making it work. But we are free to explore other things outside the two of us. Really, really interesting. And oh yeah, the point I was making about the girl who was being interviewed by McG, you know, she was saying, she was just mentioning her partners that she has casual sex with. I can't remember what they called. You know, the rude one, it's F buddies, but I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it's friends with benefits. Yeah. yeah, the problem is when you catch feelings, you know. The problem with such things is when you then catch feelings, which I feel is happening here. Like I'm finding it difficult to genuinely react to this without you judging me. Yeah.
It doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't happen.
No, but it has happened. So
Sure
I
it
want to
has.
know what that looks like.
It challenges my mediation skills. When your partners get along, it's easier to manage your time.
Yeah.
Because they can do things together. The Google Calendar is red hot if your partners don't get along. Polyamory is not for everybody.
Disclaimer.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
No.
I would think that that would be extremely challenging.
It doesn't have to be such a laborious task if you understand and you believe that love is not a limited resource.
Nobody can take Alex away from me.
Right.
And he's married.
Right.
A lot of people will be like, well, what if Bridget decides that she just doesn't want to do this anymore? I asked him this, like, at one point, and he was like, it's just not going to happen.
And it's because me and Bridget always talk about our issues before they become issues.
Can you give me an example of what you're talking about?
Sure, if I know I'm going to be late and I'm with somebody else, but Bridget is expecting me to be home at a certain time, I got to warn her ahead of time.
Yeah.
I can't just let her assume I'm going to be home on time and then show up late and disappoint her.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to manage your expectations with your partners.
I do think
Monogamous people can't even do that.
that's what I'm saying.
And I mean,
That's
you know what I
I'm
mean?
saying.
It's like finding
That's my main point.
that level of honesty and being able to have the courage to explore in this way so that you can actually get to a more authentic relationship.
I concurrently can manage multiple relationships, just like I can manage multiple friendships.
Exactly.
Previously, I had 3 partners at one time.
How did that work out? I mean, how did that work for you? I mean,
It was challenging. I do run my own business, so that's like almost like another commitment.
yeah.
So it
Big
was
time.
challenging for sure, really stressful.
So he had 4 partners.
Wow. I honestly couldn't
Basically.
see myself going past 2
I couldn't
outside
either.
of myself.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
How many other relationships are you involved in right now?
It's just my wife and Gabby. But now, after the pandemic, I'm still excited about opening up my relationship to other people, but not in the same committed way that I am with Bridget and Gabby.
Okay, got it. So, joining the table is someone who just started exploring polyamory. A couple of years ago, 28-year-old.
This man should just marry Gabby. He should just have 2 wives. He should just marry Gabby. I can't remember what I wanted to say. Something came to my mind and I can't remember. Okay.
8-year-old Gabrielle Alexa Noel came out as bisexual after a strict religious upbringing. Now she's opening herself up to the polyamorous lifestyle.
Hi.
Today we have Gab and Gab.
The 2 Gabs.
You consider yourself a poly newbie.
I am. I was just single, but then dating polyamorous people. And then I guess I thought one day, like, I mean, I could just have this for myself.
How does your family feel about you being a poly newbie?
They have no idea. I was very indoctrinated into the church, and they had me sign like a purity pact, and there was like a lot of measures of control that were baked into the way that I was raised to look at relationships.
Sorry, guys. Let's just be honest, though. There is something freeing. I feel like if I was with someone who is already with someone else, then there's no fear of losing them because they're already with someone. You understand? You're not worried that they might be with someone. They already are. There's something, I must say, there's something tempting about that. There's something that just feels like, especially if it's consensual, you understand? Especially if their partner is okay with you being in the picture. It's not a situation where you actually, you're cheating, and the poor wife or the poor husband, you're not hurting anybody. These are the people who are actually doing this as a lifestyle. It feels this. I shouldn't be watching such things.
I just know that they would not understand it, and I would love for them to come to that understanding, and I think one day they will. They just figured the bi thing out, they're just like, okay, like science says that's okay, I guess.
And
now.
you do have to pick your battles sometimes.
Right, you can't come out as bi and then you go, and I'm polyam. You gotta be like, I'm bi, let's work on this for a couple years.
Right.
And then you come out as polyam.
Well, I mean, you thinking they're not going to see you on this show?
I know. I was getting ready to say, they get ready to find out.
Well,
better be ready.
If they did ask me, I'd be ready to give them my take on it.
I actually relate. When I first became public, I became public. I didn't tell my family ahead of time. I lost the nerve. I was so nervous. And they found out the way everybody else found out, on the news. So that was harsh, and I had to work from there.
Yeah.
So I made a mistake. You know, I should have found the nerve. I should have told them and warned them, because there's a social stigma that comes with that. And I didn't give them a chance to start emotionally preparing themselves, so I do apologize for that. I think they're starting to become more comfortable with it. They sometimes even ask me about Gabby.
Yeah, I've spoken to your mom on the phone.
Yeah, I'm very open. Like, I'll tell them what I'm doing all the time. And sometimes they're ready to hear it, and sometimes they're not so ready to hear it. I'm just working on them being more accepting of me, and then maybe one day, who knows, maybe they'll invite Gabby over. I'm hopeful. They haven't disowned me, so that's
a good
That's what
thing.
you're worried about.
right. That's what I was worried about. Yes.
Yeah.
How has it been kind of navigating those jealousy waters? Because I know when I first started and I was all like idealistic about it. And then I got in the situation and I was like, whoa, there's a lot that needs to be addressed within myself, that maybe I need to step away from this situation and address these things, because I actually want to like go into this situation with a more, how shall I put it? A more like not broken mindset. Like I'm not coming into it like feeling like I'm at a lack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like coming into it feeling fulfilled and feeling like I can actually handle this. I have the tools. I have the security within. And I just want to know, because you're new at this, like how has that journey been for you?
Prior to polyamory,
Yeah.
I was always going through someone's phone or like their Facebook messages.
Can't do
Like
that.
I was so sneaky. I was so good at it. I was like, this is just something that's just like I think everyone must be doing in their relationships, and I've just normalized it. And now that there is like no secret for me to find the meaning of finding out that someone's interested in someone else, like that search for cracks, it just like no longer exists.
Yeah.
I would have so much work to do.
Okay, before Gemi speaks, I just feel like also, you know, if you were to flip it, I feel like if I knew I'm in a relationship that was open, you know, if I was in a relationship where he is allowed to have multiple partners, I would have a peaceful life. You understand? I feel like it would be such a peaceful relationship because you don't, you understand? You know what's going on. I understand her point, really do.
That's
On
the
myself.
whole point. That's what I was just trying to tell
To
you.
be in a polyamorous relationship.
It's real deal.
Jealousy?
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
Yeah.
I did things.
Jealousy is nothing but your own insecurity.
That's your own skill.
I did things that I said I would never do when I was in my fits of jealousy.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
made me realize just how much like I need to step back and work on myself.
Yeah, it really puts a mirror up for you to really look at how you really feel about yourself.
Yeah.
I just think I want a different mirror, though.
That different mirror, this is what makes people so angry when you even bring up this whole polyamory thing as an option. How the hell is that supposed to work? You mean I'm supposed? No.
They
The
get
whole
threatened.
reason why I'm in a relationship is so that you can make me feel a certain way, and you can validate me in a way that I won't do it for myself.
Right.
So,
Right.
especially for women, women are like, hold up. My man is looking at who, or my woman is looking at who? Oh no, I'm supposed to be the only one up
there's
in
so
here.
many
You know
layers.
what I mean? So I really realized that how much we use our relationships to bolster our egos.
Yeah.
You know, which has absolutely nothing to do with love. Nothing at all.
Yeah, you cannot be an insecure person for a long time and
be in
pursue
this game.
polyamory.
Absolutely
Oh no,
not.
that's
Absolutely
not gonna work. Just like I told you
you
the
go.
other day, as long as you are learning to have the greatest love affair with Willow,
Yes.
I'm okay with whatever you do.
Exactly.
So, Effie Blue, a relationship.
Oh my days. Okay, that is something. That is such a huge, a lot. What Jada is saying, that the problem in relationships is we want people to boost our ego. We want them to make us feel a certain way that we are not even able to make ourselves feel. You know, we have our own insecurities. We have our own... Hey, no, that was talking to me. Yeah. Sure. And somehow even, you know, what Willow is saying, I feel like it would probably be a good way to start trying to get back into the dating scene, to date people who are in this polyamorous thing, you know. Of course, you know, not anything sexual, but to date different people and see how you feel with people having other partners. See how, you know, gauge how your jealousy, work on yourself until you feel ready with being the presence of someone who loves someone else. You know, because I think that's my I think that's my greatest thing there, you know, like just to be at peace with someone loving you and loving someone else, or someone you love loving someone else, that kind of thing, and normalizing that, and that being okay, you know, and maybe to a degree knowing that just because they love someone else doesn't mean they don't love you. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying, but I feel like being able to handle someone you love loving someone else is a win. If you're able to handle that, then you are good. Sure.
Coach specializing in non-monogamy has some advice when it comes to jealousy.
Okay.
All right, Effie.
Hi.
Hey.
I work with people who are curious about transitioning into or have hit a roadblock in open relationships.
Love that.
Jealousy is probably the #1 topic that comes up when anyone's ever talking about polyamory. It's almost like a fire alarm that's going on in your mind, and all it's doing is giving you a message saying something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong. And just like a fire alarm, you kind of have to like turn it off so you kind of calm yourself and search why it's triggered, like what's causing the fire alarm. You just want to get down to the root of that insecurity and deal with that. And the way that I also like to think about that insecurity is also giving you a clue to what you really truly desire and what you truly want to have. Then find a way to articulate that to your partners, or find ways to meet those needs for yourself. Compersion is something that's really worth talking about if you're talking about jealousy. It's what I call the counterbalance to jealousy. It is joy for somebody else's joy that has nothing to do with you. And it comes up in polyamory often because you are in situations where you see a partner or partners having a great time with somebody else, and they, you know, look radiant, or they want to tell you all about this amazing person they've just met. In those moments, you get to have a choice. You can feel the jealousy and look at it as a teacher, like, what is this telling me? You can also nurture this feeling of joy for them,
which is the feeling of love and happiness that you feel because you know your partner is also being fulfilled.
Yeah.
Not by you, but by somebody else.
Someone else.
Real
Yeah.
love.
I practice polyamory myself, and I coach people in this, so I'm an advocate. But polyamory takes a lot of bandwidth. That's emotional bandwidth, that is mental bandwidth, that's time. And you have to care for these people, you have to care for yourself, and not everybody has that capacity. And that's okay if you don't have it, right? It's not some evolved, like, higher way of being in your relationships. You really have to be realistic of what's available with you, and whether you enjoy it or not. Not everybody enjoys all those long conversations about what you need and what you want and what you want the future to look like.
Right.
Beautiful if that works for you, but it's just not for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. You know what, Effie? Kudos, because I think it's important that we understand there's not one or the other. It's not, you know what I mean? That this is just another option for people who have the bandwidth and who want this kind of, way of interacting in
And there's so many
intimate
different
relationship.
types.
Joining us is Michelle. She is second generation Asian American and wants to normalize non-monogamy in the Asian community. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I love the demographics at this table here because polyamory isn't just for white people.
Right.
And so, yeah, I love whenever, we get the chance to like amplify voices that are marginalized within an already marginalized community.
Yes. Explain to us how polyamory became an option for you.
Growing up, I was still on the monogamy train, but I had these misgivings. I'm like, well, it seems like the monogamy thing isn't perfect or isn't as perfect as everyone is saying it is. And when I watched movies, like a lot of the time, there was the woman with the two options that she had to choose between, like the love triangle. In my teenage mind, I was like, isn't there a way to have an agreement? And it just clicked for me. And I've never turned back since.
So how does your family feel about you being poly?
So the only person in my family who knows is my sister because we're super, super close. And I have sort of don't ask, don't tell policy with my family. My mom just like wants our family to just be together and no conflict. So I think she knows herself well enough not to pry.
Right.
Because she knows that details of her children's lives would make her uncomfortable. And I'm at the point where if they were to see this or something, I'd be okay with that.
Right.
I'm just in no rush to try to like, okay, here's the conversation. And here's me trying to kind of justify this to you. And this is me trying to explain and go through this emotional labor to say that like, this isn't just a phase, Mom. This is this is very core to who I am. And just deal with it. But yeah, I'm in no rush to get into that conversation.
No, I totally understand that, for sure.
I'm sitting up here and I'm really trying to understand and listen and kind of absorb and everything. But as I'm sitting here, I'm recognizing it's really not all that important for me to understand. No, that's fact. It's not important for me to understand. It's important that I be able to listen without judgment and let you do your thing.
Yeah.
And if that means 3 people, if it means 10 people, if that's what works for you, that's great. It doesn't really have anything to do with me.
We're seeking acceptance at the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
It's not for us to decide for you how you're supposed to be living your life.
We're not trying to break
it's like
monogamy
any
apart.
sort of new counterculture thing. Like, leave me alone. Like, like just let me live my life.
Yes. And I
is
just
an
want to
awesome
say,
conversation.
I feel so just excited and seen because I've been, studying polyamory for a really long time. And I just want to show that there's so much here to be mined and to be uncovered.
Yeah. I tell you what, this was a beautiful uncovering today, and burning away the layers and the myths around polyamory. So I really appreciate all you coming.
That was a revelation for me. I'm trying so hard to understand. I ain't got to understand it. I just need to not have judgment about it. That's the thing.
I'm good.
That's the thing, Gemi. You just need to have no judgment about it. And I think that's the message I have as well. I got that. We just need to not judge. It's hard. It's always difficult, looking at anything from a Christian perspective, because there's quite a lot of gray areas in Christianity. There is. But ultimately, something is either right or wrong. But there's always a lot of gray areas on what is right, what is wrong, what is sin, what is not sin. And I think I've said this before, wondering why God let the men have multiple wives and concubines, and the women could not. Or maybe the women didn't think they wanted that, or the women didn't, maybe the women just didn't think they could. It's not because they can't. So it's an interesting one. Things of the Bible. But I think I love what Gemi says. I think ultimately We don't have to understand. You don't have to understand. It has nothing to do with you. Do not judge. Do not judge. Live and let live. What you are called to do as a Christian is to love. That's what we're called to do. Everything else, it's not your calling. But yeah, that was really interesting. I wasn't watching this to come give my Christian perspective on it. I just wanted to give it my genuine perspective on it, which I found as I kept going that I am holding back from what I actually want to say. But I think ultimately I've managed to say what I think. And yeah, I think, goodness, this is quite long. I think kudos to people who are able to live their lives, be true to their lives, be true to what they desire, what they wish for, what they want for themselves, and not mind what people think, you know. I think we should all be doing that. We should all be doing that. Be true to your beliefs and what your convictions about things, about life. Wow, that was pretty interesting. I did not know there is a community, there's you know what I mean. Like I said, I know about open relationships. I guess it's the same thing. Maybe it's just a different term. Whew, what did you think? It was shocking when I saw it. I was like, but this thing could be a solution to many marriages. It could be a solution if the two parties it's usually the men, it's usually the women who do not want another woman. And sometimes things get so desperate that as a woman, you actually feel, you know what, I think we need to let this woman come, be part of us, because he really makes my husband happy. Because as a woman, you're so desperate for this thing not to end. But sometimes I feel like as a woman, you have a right to do that, not out of desperation. You know, your thing shouldn't be because you're so afraid of losing this man, or you're so afraid of losing this marriage. You can decide to do that if you feel, you know what, for the sake of my children, not out of fear. You should never make any decision out of fear. For the sake of my children or my family and my in-laws, my extended family and our friends, because we want to keep our community, you know, because marriage is a community, it brings community. For the sake of that, we're going to take a second wife. Or for the sake of that, of course, I don't think the men would actually want to take the other woman as a second wife, because, I don't know, it's just a sense I have that, you know, they just want to taste and come back home. They don't really want to commit it. But I think you have all the right to just face him, challenge him to marry her, to say, okay, marry her. Let's have her. Let her be part of our family. You know, let's have her part of our family. Because we are not breaking up, you know, like Jada and Will, you know, they've decided, whatever, we're not breaking up. That's another way. If you want that for yourself, you understand, you have the right to do that. We've seen it in the Bible, you know. You can just decide, sis, you have the right to say, okay, let's sit down. Let's marry her. Let her come be part of our family. You know, but yeah, don't do it. If it's out of fear and it's out of you feeling inadequate, don't do it. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. Whew. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. But remember that God loves you even more. And that is true. Ciao, ciao. Helen, you watched everything. Thank you so much for watching everything. Now don't forget to subscribe and go back to my other videos and scroll and watch everything. There's very good things in here, very good interesting things. You are number one. Now thank you and take care of yourself.